Need to call to order the March 27th, 2017 meeting of the Board of Education. First item of business is the approval of agenda. Have a motion?
Move we approve the agenda.
Have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Great. Next is the consent agenda. Consent agenda items are those that are considered routine and are adopted by one motion unless any board member or the superintendent requests that an item be removed. The item or items removed are voted on separately. Have a motion?
I move the Board of Education adopt the items listed on the consent agenda.
Have a second?
Second.
Janice?
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Now we'll move on to the main item of business tonight, and that is approval of the selection to fill a vacant board seat. So I think how we will do it tonight is each of us will discuss our first choice. We'll go through and discuss, why we think that person, we want to select them. If there's consensus at that point, we can have a motion and call it good. If we haven't reached a consensus, we can go to our second choice, again, see where we are at that point. If we need to go to our third pick after that, we can. But we'll proceed in that order. We can either start at one end and go down, or I actually had Janice develop a random order of the board members, if we want to just do that.
Sure.
Sure? All right. Rick said sure, and you're first on the random order. So.
Okay. Sure.
So.
Okay, so my first choice is Ruben Flores. And, before I get into that, I should say, it's gratifying to have so many people who are interested, and it's a really hard decision because we had so many good people. And it's nice to see that we have, the issues that we're kind of dealing with, which I think a lot of districts are dealing with, which became more difficult after that person was selected to be president by the Electoral College. I think that really exacerbated issues. And so, I think it's just gratifying that we have so many people who are interested. So, at any rate, Ruben is my first choice. I think that for me, part of the criteria were that, that you have some level of involvement in the schools kind of prior to this. We've had difficult conversations. I think Ruben was involved in one of those difficult conversations when the district put together a consolidation task force. Ruben served on that, as did some of our current board members. And so I think he's really shown a willingness to get involved, have those difficult conversations. And I also think that, he's been involved in this kind of work at KU, so I think he has I think he has the right values in the sense that he didn't have to do these things. So I found him to be, and I know Ruben, I think he's thoughtful and, very articulate. I think he will do due diligence in terms of the issues that were faced. He won't take shortcuts. I think he will do his homework, and so I would support him for those reasons.
Next is Jill.
My first choice, and I really didn't honestly rank the three choices. I just sort of picked my top three. So I'm not sure there's a real lot of difference between 1, 2, and 3 about how I feel. But Melissa Johnson, I was really impressed with her. I like the idea that she was actually in education and has kind of been very involved as a parent in our schools, but also has kind of seen the other side that sometimes I know we hear about, and we all have connections with different schools, but sometimes maybe it helps to have maybe a 360 view. I was just really impressed with her demeanor and her ability to listen and to hear both sides of a lot of different matters that we've kind of been dealing with lately. And she's one of my top three, I guess.
Thanks, Jill. Next, Shannon.
I also chose Melissa Johnson as my first choice, and I want to echo, before I explain why, I want to echo what Rick said about the quality of the pool of candidates that applied for this position. This has been a very, very tough decision, and I am grateful that each of you stepped forward and volunteered to take this on. And you know, so it is kind of hard to pick one person out of such a talented group. But I think for me, there are a couple of things about Melissa's background that I think would be very helpful to the conversations we've had on the board, and that we need to have going forward. Her background as an educator obviously means that she understands on a very detailed level the challenges that we're facing as a classroom educator. She is a parent of students in our district, and I know that she's had some experience with some different aspects of services that our district provides that I think would be very helpful to her perspective as a board member. She's been active in our community in a lot of ways, having to do with the Sister Cities program, and I learned a lot about that program and some of those activities, and was really impressed with her willingness to pitch in and do the work to sustain a program like that has a great deal of cultural value and importance to our community. So you know, all of those things together, and her stated commitment to transparency and the value that she places on education, both as a professional and in her personal life with her own children, I think speak a great deal to the kind of board member that she would be.
Thanks, Shannon. Vanessa, you next.
Yeah, my top pick is also Melissa. I think among the applicants, she has the highest current level of engagement. She's been at all of the meetings and is here again tonight. So I appreciate that, and I appreciate that, you know, given this idea that you have to like hop on and join with us, someone that's been along for the ride, that knows the issues that we're facing, that has seen the agendas, watched all the budget PowerPoints and whatnot. Like, she will not require a great deal of kind of training because she's already kind of been there with us. She's demonstrated a desire to problem solve and work collaboratively. She understands issues from multiple perspectives, both as an educator and as a mother, as some of you have said. As a woman of color, she would improve the diversity of our board and add a much needed and missing perspective as we work through to continually address the equity issues that we are very committed to solving and addressing. The input from the community that we received suggests that she's also the community's top choice. 73% of the constituent input that I received about this decision was in favor of adding Melissa to our board. And so, yeah, I'm enthusiastically in favor of that.
Thanks, Vanessa. I'm next. So let's see. I was going to cover a couple of the factors that I considered when I was looking through everybody's submission. So some of the things that I were looking at: the lived experience of a person of color in support of the community, particularly our communities of color, a passion for public education, and whether that is expressed through professionally, volunteering, or in some manner, and a willingness to advocate for it, connections with the community and willingness to engage with the community, critical thinking skills, ability to look at an issue from multiple angles and to hear multiple perspectives and weigh the pros and cons, ability to be a team player as well as speak one's own mind, and having a vision in line with the district's current goals of excellence, equity, and engagement for all students. I did hear from one or two community members who expressed concerns for those having an education background, professionally, particularly K through 12. They were concerned that such individuals may find it too difficult to not get into the weeds as opposed to staying above at the policy and visioning levels. And while I agree that is something board members with an education background have to be mindful of, I personally don't consider it a deal breaker. If the individual is willing to assess their own actions and is open to input from other board members and administration as to whether or not they might be overreaching, then I think such a background can be a pretty good advantage to the district. And honestly, if I thought it was a deal breaker, then I wouldn't have applied 3 years ago to fill an open position, because you could have made the same argument against me with respect to the facilities. So with all of that, my number one pick is Melissa Johnson. Relative to the factors that I considered, I felt that Melissa had the best overall embodiment of those factors. In addition, she also brings the perspective of a single parent, which we don't currently have represented on the board. And while we have higher education experience, we don't have anyone who is or was working at the K through 12 level. And in my conversation with Melissa, I believe that she will be able to manage the potential double-edged sword of currently working as a K through 12 teacher. I also believe that Melissa has the support of many in the community who've been critical of the board and district in its handling of equity and transparency related to the issues over the last 6 or 7 months that we faced. And I view her addition to the board as a great opportunity to continue building trust with those community members moving forward. In my conversation with her and others, this appears to be a role that she wants to take on as well. And she strikes me as a strong individual with good ideas, as well as a team player who wants to work with the remaining board members and administration to continue making us better. And
Well, I love being the vote that you don't need, but you're also my top pick for all the same reasons that everybody has already mentioned, so I won't repeat them all. But I also have had the benefit of knowing Melissa for several years and have always found her to be a fantastic human being, so I look forward to working with her on the board.
So since I'm the only one who didn't have Melissa listed first, I should note she was actually my second choice. And I would be, I can enthusiastically endorse her. So I think we can make this not only consensus, but unanimous.
I'll make the motion.
Okay.
I move the Board of Education approve the selection of Melissa Johnson to serve on the board through January 8th, 2018.
Second. Janice?
Yes.
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 All right. Congratulations, Melissa.
This shows you how passionate I am and I really want to help accomplish it. Thank you.
Thank you. And I think, Janice, will you be in touch? I mean, somebody will be in touch over the next couple of days to start setting up meetings, right, to get.
Yes, so you, Melissa, you're going to have the joy of sitting through a number of orientation sessions, but hopefully in the next couple of weeks. I know we'll work around your schedule. Obviously, you have a full-time day job that's quite demanding, so we'll work around your schedule. We'll be in touch with you, and we'll set up some meetings with some staff to kind of help you get your feet on the ground so we can welcome you on April 10th.
We'll have Jamie Shu come to do an oath of office on April 10th, right? Okay.
All right.
Motion to adjourn?
So, do I have a second?
Well, hang on,
Oh.
because she's asking a question.
Oh.
You're going to get sworn in on April 10th.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Second?
Yeah, second.
All in favor?
aye.
Aye.
Aye. Meeting adjourned.